Hi, good morning, welcome back. It's the Wednesday the 4th of September 2013, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I just thought I'd do an update. I haven't done an update for about a month, and the reason is that is because I've been on holiday with my wife and children in Italy, and holidays are always difficult for weight. I always intend to increase weight by a half stone. We tend to spend like half a go away somewhere. I went to a camping resort, and then we spend, because my wife is Italian, we spend some time with her mother, and she's a great cook, and the food is always available, and Italians tend to eat healthily, and they eat a lot, but I kicked off my holiday with 4 nutrition books that I was quite keen to get into, and the 4 books were the Fast Diet by Dr. Michael Mosely, and that was based on the Horizon programme. It was on about a year ago in August by the BBC about fasting. And then also another book based on a lady, Kate Harrison, who watched that programme, and it's based on her experiences, and also she has more of the theory, and has quite a range of options for what their fasting day is. The fasting, typically on an intermittent fasting, you can consume calories, so 500 to 600 a day, and Kate Harrison's book is quite interesting because she has quite a lot of recipes, and she's done other books for recipes. And then other 2 books that I read while I was away was one was called The Pleasure Trap, and one of the authors of that is Dr. Goldhammer, and the other one was The Starch Solution by John McDougall. And I read those first, before I read the fasting ones, the intermittent fasting ones, and I was quite intrigued because one of the, because both the book by the book The Starch Solution and the other book The Pleasure Principle, they're both written by MDs and people who are dedicated vegans. So their diet's very restrictive in the sense that there's no meat, there's no dairy, there's no eggs, there's no oil, no fish. And I tried to adopt that diet was away. I had a month, so one of the reasons I think I lost weight is hard to say because I did other things as well. So I had a whole month of mostly having very little, hardly any meat. You know, maybe a slice of ham. That was a bit. I usually have a lot more meat, and I adopted the diet of having starches because before I wasn't eating pasta, and I was trying to not eat potatoes, and I was trying to not eat rice, and I switched it so that I was eating as recommended half of that, but I couldn't stop the eggs or the fish, even though I didn't actually eat much fish when I was away. Or eating vegetable oil. I mean, olive oil is one of my main ingredients in terms of making my salads, and I find it very hard to stop having that. Less, yes, but stop. In terms of just enjoyment of the food, I don't think that I could or that I would want to. And for the first week of my holiday, I actually missed my regular fast day. It's quite hard to fast when I was on holiday. And also, as a family, we were eating a lot. We're having a good breakfast, we're having a good lunch, we're having a good evening meal. And I found when I actually got to about a week later, I'd actually put weight on. I was quite worried because it was about 3 kilos, so, you know, best part of half stone, and that sort of rang alarm bells. And I'd missed my weekly fast, and also by the time after that first week had gone, I realised that. You know, I'd read the Fast Diet and the Kate Harrison book on the 5-2 diet, and thought that, well, maybe what I should do, and I was quite impressed by the Dr. Mosely in the fact that he did a 4-day fast, and it was recommended by one of the people he consulted with to do a 4-day fast rather than a 1-day fast as I've been doing. So I wanted to do, when I did my fast while I was away, I did 2 fasts. I wanted to try and do the 4-day fast, but I only got as far as 2 days. Now, it's mostly because the pressure of the people around me, they didn't like the fact that I was not eating. And, you know, and when you're visiting people, they almost see it's rude that you're not eating their food, even though I wasn't against them. So, but I did manage to do the I did manage to do 2 fasts, so I've been fairly consistent. I did miss the first week, then I did a 2-day fast, and then the following week I did a 2-day fast, and then I missed my fast, and now I'm starting again fasting, and at the moment I'm going to try and do a 4-day fast. We'll see how far we get with that. But what impressed me, the first fast, the first 2-day fast was good for my holiday, because it actually took off the weight and it brought me down to what I was when I was away, which was 95 kilos, 15 stone. So I thought, well, at least, if I come home and I haven't put weight on, that's an achievement. And then the second week I did the 2-day fast, and weight dropped off, and that was unexpected. Because usually, you lose the weight and it comes back on again, but it actually stayed off. And I got home, and I didn't actually fast for the week either. When I got home, and the weight has stayed off, so I actually got down to 40.5 stone. So that was interesting, and there could be a number of factors, because I had a whole month of not eating that much meat. I think that if you restrict a significant nutrient from your diet, carbohydrate or protein or fat, that can have certain biochemical changes to your body. And also I did extend the fasting to 2 days rather than 1 day, and maybe the reason that I've been losing the weight as much as I wanted to, as quickly as I wanted to, was because I was only doing a 1-day fast per week rather than a 2-day fast per week. So that sort of made me think, it sort of relaxed me a bit, because I found a way to lose the weight, and I have my own sort of theory on how I lose weight. And going back to when I started trying to lose weight in the past, I can remember losing weight in my 20s, I'd be gaining half stone, and I quickly lost the half stone. But after that half stone goes, and this is on 12 stone, progress is very slow, and the enthusiasm quickly dies, and you go back to normal eating. But you don't always put on the weight as fast again. And so for my personal way of losing weight, I believe that, and this is on other diets I've been, that in a given month, then I can lose half a stone. But to want to try and lose more than that, because I think your body your body changes, your metabolic rate goes down, and it finds ways to, I think, store fat, because it remembers the weight that it was and it wants to maintain that weight. This is my sort of conjecture, if you will. So I think that's one good thing about the fasting, is that the fasting helps you to lose the weight, but then you go back to normal eating, or trying to cap the calorie intake to 2,000 calories per day. And in some ways you're normalizing your calorie consumption. So traditional diets would have you restricting your calories all the time, and it becomes a monotony, and I have to say, since I lost the weight, I went back to eating normally. I mean, not excessively, but I was eating things that I quite like to eat, and I wasn't really avoiding things, but I wasn't eating them in big quantities. And I was having normal meals, and the weight hasn't actually gone back on. And also, the other thing I did on holiday was to up my exercise. So I was running. For the first week, I was running probably every day for about 30 to 40 minutes, and doing about 10 to 15 minutes of yoga. And I aim to keep that up. So now I'm trying again, and this is going to be an experiment, because I think that I'm going to try and do a 4-day fast, but I'm going to try and do a fast so that the weight comes off. So not only do I get normal loss of water, but I also get the actual loss, so what I call a significant loss. And I'm going to fast, which I'm hoping is going to be 4 days, for as long as I can possibly fast. Now, if it gets to the situation where I can't, I still have my coffee, milk and sugar in the morning, which is, it's not strictly a fast, because it's about 180 calorie intake. But if I can't maintain that, then I'm going to switch to this intermittent fasting, which is a restriction of 500 to 600 calories a day. So that's going to be one meal, and it's probably going to be porridge, and I'm probably going to take that as late as possible and not after 6 o'clock if I have to eat anything. See, I find that for my own personal situation that I'm okay saying to myself, I'm not going to eat. That's fine, right? But as soon as I start to eat, I want to eat. And that's why in the past I think diets haven't worked for me. But I also think the other mistake that I've made in terms of my dieting is to focus just on food and not on the exercise. And I do really believe that you need to do both. I know a lot of the stats say 70% diet and 30% exercise, but just for my body type, the way that I gain weight and lose weight, I have to consistently exercise, and it has to be, aerobic exercise. It's just sustained running. It's the best way for me to, I think, lose weight and keep the weight off. So that was mostly my update, and I'll try and keep this posted if I can maintain fasting. It's hard. The only thing I don't like about fasting is that I have to drive, and that is difficult. And so I might actually eat before I drive, just to make sure that the brain has got all the function, because that's the only risk that I have at the moment. Oh yes, so the only other thing that I got into when I was away was looking at another diet known as the low carb diet, or Atkins diet, which was confusing to me because they were saying the same things that the vegans were saying, who were like they had a high carb diet, low protein diet, and low fat diet, and then you've got these Atkins people, or low carb or hydrate people, saying you can have high protein and high fat diet, and they were both coming up with similar positive blood chemistry changes, and I find that confusing. And one thing that I have, and it's my own personal thing, if I want to be a vegetarian, is how do I move to not eating meat, and how much protein do I really need, and how many fatty acids do I need. I don't really think I've got the answers to those questions yet. Plus there's part of me which likes to eat meat, when not often, not as much as possible. And I did find that when I had the month without that much meat, eating meat again was, especially late at night, was just didn't make me feel good. It kept me up and made my whole stomach feel uncomfortable. But there's that part of me that thinks that I need to have enough protein, and I can only really get that from meat. And the other thing as well, having to actually give up yogurt and having to give up oil, I just don't know how that's possible. Plus with yogurt, you need that B12. I suppose I could use Marmite for B12, but there are specific, I suppose, needs the body has that you must satisfy. But anyway, going back to the low carb people, and there was one chap who's named John Briffa. He's on YouTube. He doesn't really call himself an Atkins person. He calls himself a low carb person, but he's really an Atkins person. And the way they talk and say that essentially that you can go to a McDonald's and you can order a Big Mac and you can eat the meat with the cheese, but you can't eat the bread and you can't eat the veggie. And to me, that isn't really a very healthy diet. Excuse me. That's my cue to go. But I suppose what is good about switching from a high protein, high fat diet to a high carb diet is that you could use it as a way of changing. I think the body responds to change by losing weight. So I think you could do it as a short-term way of getting the weight off. But long-term, I really think that you need to be eating fresh fruit and vegetables. And from the other thing, I'll put a link in. I actually found the Horizon program. It's on Vivo, and I've just watched that. And it's very clear to me that you need to restrict, as you get older, the amount of protein that you have. You need to eat enough protein to maintain your body and the cells and all that, but to lower something called the insulin growth factor 1, which is responsible for cancers as you get older, is a definite must to reduce the amount of protein that you take. and presumably that just doesn't mean animal protein, but it's also vegetable protein too. Okay, well that's my update for now. Please do leave comments. I try to put links in and make it more sort of understandable. Hopefully it is sort of understandable and helpful. But I do feel more positive about my diet than I have done for a while, and I'm really pleased I didn't put weight on when I was on holiday. Thank you very much. Bye bye.